Welcome in, everybody, to this week's edition of Valpo Basketball Weekly. Brandon Vickery with you. Glad to be joined by the head coach of the Valpo basketball program, Roger Powell Jr., as we get set for this week's games, including a home date against UNI on Wednesday. First, we look back at this past week. And, Coach, when you go through a rough stretch like you did over the course of the past week, how do you, as a head coach, strike that balance of challenging your guys to improve and also remaining optimistic and positive during stretches like that?
I think one is you got to have some perspective here. And, looking at some of the lineups, for example, against, Belmont, Dia, is matched up with Casper Sepp. I mean, Casper's like 6'6", he's a freshman. I mean, that was a challenge for him. And even Cooper, I mean, those guys haven't really gone against, guys of that caliber. And when they have, usually guys that are older, more talented, they win. It's just how college basketball operates. That and Indiana State. I mean, Indiana State is a team that should be an at-large team, and, thinking about where they were 3 years ago, Evansville is another team. Think about where Evansville was, last year. There's going to be some growing pains. So I think with that being said, having the right perspective, challenging them, I challenged them last game. Second half, we came out and had 51 points, not proud of the way we started. But, as we've seen all year, this team has continued to fight, other than obviously the outlier being, Indiana State at Indiana State. So, challenging them to get better, challenge them to come out and put two halves together. And, hey, man, we have a lot more games here, and we have some games that we can win. So making sure they don't lose their confidence, and we just keep fighting. And we come out and we put two halves together against, you and I on this week.
You touched on it there, but I want to dive more into it. As an Indiana State team that went 4-14 in the league the year before last, and here they are, as you mentioned, an at-large type team, a borderline top 25 type team. What's it like to look around the conference and see other programs with that type of turnaround, and how does that put things into perspective with where you're at here in year one?
For me, I think a big thing, it just kind of has to do with my plan and my vision for this program. Number one, and this year I wanted to be competitive. And I knew playing with a lot of young guys, lack of experience, not really having a ton of veteran guys, I knew it was going to be a challenge to, win the league. But I wanted to be competitive. And obviously, looking at our record, it may not look that way. But asking some of the coaches that we played against, a lot of those games have been competitive. So with that being said, I mean, I think we're right on pace. It's going to be important for us to, now that we have time to really attack the transfer portal and get some high-level players, we're going to have to get some guys in, which a lot of those teams did. And some of our young guys who have gone through the growing pains and the challenges of, losing like 7 games by 5 points or less. I mean, playing in those situations, playing against, older teams in this league, they're going to grow up. So, I think when you see teams like that really struggle, for example, Evansville, man, they won 1 game in league last year. And now look at where they are, Coach Schertz, who talked to me before the game, where he was his first year and kind of how he's kind of turned the program around. Brian Rodel, who's a great friend of mine, they won 5 games his first year at Bradley. And they've been a team that's won league and has been really competitive. So when I look at those programs and I look at my vision, it may not feel comfortable. It may not feel good because I love winning and I've been a part of winning for a lot of years. But at the same time, the plan is working. And, I think I'm excited about the growth that we're going to have over the offseason and going into next year with some of the pieces we're going to add. With that being said, we're going to compete. And I'm going to challenge them this week to step up and challenge them to win every game we step on the floor, because we show that, we can compete with teams. You have to learn these 6 games left in the regular season, how to close them out. And we've done it a couple times, but I'm not satisfied. We need to do it. We need to do it more.
People saw the social media post this week, you kind of challenging the student section to come out, and this new and exciting promotion that one member of the student section gets a chance to win some money by shooting a half-court shot. Let's talk about maybe some memories of playing in front of the Orange Crush during your playing days, and just what is the importance of a student section on a college basketball environment?
It's extremely important, and that's why, like, my buddy and I came with the idea, because, I want to show those guys, the students, I mean, all the student body, that they matter to us. And I appreciate them coming out. And, in the beginning stages of what we're trying to build, kind of at the floor of it, I want them to be a part of it here. and then be a part of it as it grows. So, some of those promotions, some things, some of those ideas, it just rewards them for their effort because, playing in front of the Orange Crush, being at Gonzaga, playing in front of our fans there, man, it's special. And I think, they're like our six men, and they're going to uh they're they're going to challenge us to compete when we're our backs are against the wall with their energy, but then also, they're gonna be intimidating to the opposing teams that come into our arena.
One other thing that happened around the department this weekend was an all sports reunion. I know you were super focused on coaching your team and your games, but what's it like to see some alumni back and to know that a couple of members of your past in Valpo men's basketball were inducted into the Hall of Fame this weekend?
It was special, and I think having Lou Bosch on our staff is cool because we have a guy that has been awesome to this program, and our players get to see him all the time. Seeing some of the women's teams, back around some of those players I haven't had a chance to meet, have a conversation with them. I think it's been great, and we want to try to get those guys and the women's team and other sports. We want to get them around. We want them to really take pride in, being the foundation of where Valpo Athletics is going.
Let's look ahead. You face UNI. It's hard to believe the first time this season on Wednesday night. What's the scouting report on the Panthers? What do you have to do to get a win on Wednesday?
We're going to have to score the ball. I mean, they're really good defensively. I think when teams score 70 points, they they have a chance to win. You score less than 70 from the statistics, it's going to be hard. So, trying to get up and down and trying to create opportunities with our pace is going to be huge. And then, hey, man, having a defensive effort. Our last two games, we've given up 100 points in 96. So we have to really lock in here and get some stops. And that's going to be important with a very disciplined team like you and I. And, Jacobson's going to have a great game plan. I mean, he's won a ton of games. So, for me as a young coach, a young head coach, it's going to be exciting to go against a guy like that and try to challenge him and then try to pull out a win. But I think they're a beatable team if we play the right way and if we put two halves together.
There he is, the head coach of the Valpo men's basketball program, Roger Powell Jr. Again, the game will be on Wednesday night against UNI right here at the Arc at 7 p.m. We hope to see you there, valpoathletics.com for ticket information. Talk to you again next time on Valpo Basketball Weekly, presented by Lakeshore Bone and Joint Institute.